To tag the self. I'm starting again this channel of tag the self. I wanted to work as I moved to Windsor, and I used to work in the store here, so I would ride from my bicycle to the store, and thanks to people that work for the homeless, I have been able to survive with food and help from shelters and paid accommodations as well. So many people working from Slough to Windsor, and been always wishing to support them so they have their own focus and decision making. So I created this with a stick, so they could vote. I'm not gonna talk about the name of the organization to respect their privacies. That's what tech itself does, to help bring a higher step throughout technology with the state of affairs that comes from the self of the entity through yourself, as well as you're being witness of what is going on, how can you help, and what ideas might be talking about the world, the communities around you. Some neighborhoods are more privileged than others, so I've seen the wish to help those in need, and at the same time the difficulties because of the divisions among boroughs. And one question I want to do is, what would they do if there was no more homelessness to everyone? What will you do if there is no more homelessness? At the same time, I want to talk with friends and talk about what they like to do, if they like to work or study something online together, and follow up. Of course, I need a foundation to feel stable because it's been very upside down trying to clear a pattern of thievery around the store in Windsor, and how this pattern operates, because it's not easy to explain how this pattern is happening. People want to work calm and not talk about negative things to keep their image clear away from problems and have a good day, of course, but at the same time there is always someone that will try to lie and thief, steal, creating a very unhealthy environment, because how are you going to match the results when mathematics never lies? So workers try to, they kind of hide it, but they are like, no, I'm not against you, but there's something missing. So when you can report this in 1 second and it could be cleared away, it becomes months and years sometimes, until it comes to higher and higher members in the system to make a decisive cut so it never happens again, because people don't want to be involved. They just let it keep it going because they are afraid of reporting something so grotesque. And I am in a first world country. We should never be afraid of authorities and those who have higher positions of power to take care of us and our work. So we are distributing with honesty these values. We all serve each other. Tech Self is an example of how we can communicate with more clarity locally, nationally, from borough to borough. In another channel, I want to talk more about what is to work behind production, even though I'm not here to have followers or viewers, just those who like to participate in this, so they roll with their own. They have their own intelligence and choices to design. And as I do have these questions. How would you still prevent for people to not come to this borough asking for help because you have good resources to help people, but they are scheming and bringing more problems among homeless communities, and there's people who need it more. So there it becomes like a big brother competition to get free housing, you know. For example, the story of this rich woman who she threw her son in the streets, and she married a rich man and allowed his son to be raped by this pedophile. Just as it is, and I'm not going to go around with beautiful coveted words, as much makeup I have in my face right now. So you understand how women orchestrate their finance with very dark gaslighting perversion. And sometimes the son would agree to follow through just to have the recognition of the mother who's been part of this sickening, twisted behavior. There's no need to do that to have your home. Your mother is very rich to give you a home. Why is she trying to be the good mother she never was? Yeah. So as long as your children are not gaslighted and they know what is good and what is bad, like this changes a paramount integrity in their own decision making to not hurt anyone and not twist. No, there's no need to twist anything or hurt anyone or pretend to be something you're not to hurt other people as well, who also deserve true love. Because at the end, you are just wanting people to think their love exists, but it's not being taken care. And the money that you will give to this child is worthless because it's dying in alcohol and drugs to forget. Just to get high, to forget this pain that relates to the world that this mother has given him. To make it short, I would love the police to get the confession and, if possible, the evidence to put this woman in jail. And of course, to protect the innocent. But then you have this sort of innocence trying to hurt others to get welfare housing as well. So it's been with premeditation and allegory to hurt 4 people and then pretend to be a victim because you look more educated and the other people don't know how to communicate as well as you know how to perform your acts, because you had more education. So does this really make it fair? People are on the brink of madness, fighting to have help from government, knowing there's a lot of money there. You know how long it takes to have a free house? So it's kind of like trying to discern. I'm not perfect, you know. I have said, no, I don't want a free house. I want my family first. I want to divide my family. I was mistaken, of course. I was mistaken. It was not true love there at all. I left to Canada and he was with another woman. So that was another lie I told myself. Um, I grew up with freedom and love to always love. So that's also another disassociation that is as dark as the other one. One is just in a bubble that pops in and out and tries to believe these stories are going to match at the very end. You end up seeing multiple ways of being treated and mistreated from higher sources in government, which are social workers, how they operate with police, and a lot of mischievous actions which you might not be aware of how a person that have problems become worse. Take that and swallow that to digest. You don't have to, you can spit it out because it's too much. So I'm telling you the truth from the other side. There's good people. There are also psychiatrists who know better what these cases are. I myself been in therapy meditation for 14 years, and there is no psychologist or therapist in the experience of their own theater plays and to understand what is psychiatry. So you have to really trust that it can get worse, right? And I've known worse, so of course everyone needs to understand it. You don't have to play crazy to get help. You are already crazy. Yeah. And those who work in government have this power trip that they can pick and choose whom they like. So if you really see what one country does from another, you might see the differences because some countries have so many problems. They take care of themselves better because everyone is in the same disaster. So there is more compassion among themselves to take care and be happy as they are because the collective is poor. The majority of people is poor and they just carry on taking care of with what they have, you know, and keep dancing, laughing, joking, have a greater sense of humor and compassion to carry on from the collective sorrows and poverties in a more humbling way, but it's also dramatic to a general stand where only a few are middle class or nearly rich, right? So in first world countries, most of the vulnerable people are belonging to a great umbrella where it's not only mental illness from the highest core, because those are the last pieces you are dealing with. The average person has a healthy, good family, learning their values, to study, take care, have consentment, understand when it's no. They live in a Christian community that has grown for many generations, whether they go to church or not, is embedded in them to say sorry and carry on. And doesn't mean everyone is perfect. Everyone has their moments as well. So we say sorry and try to be better members of our family if we can, if it's in the power of our ability to do so. We may regret to not be as much as we wish. And what is it missing there? What is society? What has family become? So have a lot of compassion for those who are in need, but have the worst stories, because those are the last ones you have in a first world evolved country. So I think social workers should be eliminated. They don't have the transparency to work with this, because they have preferences that are based on how they treat them. I have seen, not in Canada, because Canada has welfare for everyone. People don't need to compete or pretend to be better persons. So those who treat them as superior, mostly immigrants are, so they inspire pity and superiority in the other. So if you are from the same country, they don't take care of you as much, because they like to have pity on those they want to help, even though they came illegal and don't have the rights, or marry a rich man who came to Cuba and the day it had its ID card, it created a scandal and made this man, you know, a reason to get divorced and help from the government, knowing very well. So there are so many stories I have from first person experience that I have seen. And of course, I've been a brat. I've been telling people what to do. You don't talk like that to me. I've been telling them how to talk and what is correct, what is not. And I was totally out of understanding where I was, you know. I was in a position of being helped for my children and the father of my children who had a car accident, and all I created was hatred because I didn't inspire pity. I was disgusted of the way they talked to me and treated me. So I would become more and more of a threat. I was not there to teach them and look at them down to courts where they would see me as a threat because they would compare me with the King of Spain and the very judge in their office threatening me to get out with a pencil. I want you out of here. All right. So I have seen these behaviors because I was born in Venezuela, that I do not know who is the King of Spain. I went to the school of the King of Spain on that time. I said Juan Carlos de Bourbon. I went to the school of the Prince of Spain and saw him with a great education. So In that moment, it's like people believe so much in these hierarchies and they want to play them on you, like they have a power to eliminate you. And they do not know the education you have to understand what's right and what is not. So you might think to be perfect and be able to manipulate and use any form, any form in your power just to annihilate, eliminate people who are against you. Because I got them stealing money as well. And they were not paying these families. They were taking children from gypsies and said, you don't know your laws. So I was helping behind as another mother who is in need. And I would bring all the information to the ministry in Ibiza, to the Ministry of Families and Health, to the secretary and the ministry. Because my father taught me how to direct myself with respect to the office, talking about the problem without naming people, because they know how to fix it. And I would write in my letters, I don't wish for anyone to lose their job, but they need some correction to not do this. They have children they have taken that are living from the government, and they could have been adopted. Their parents were deported, couldn't see her mother again. And very dark stories, all right? Very dark stories where they make money from the government. And the director would say, it had to be you, it had to be somebody. So they pick on the one who hate more. And they don't pick on the ones that are, I say, look, this person also needs help, but is sleeping in the car with this newborn baby because he's afraid of social workers, because they're going to take her baby away, because she is aware that comes from being hostage from Russia to be a prostitute, where many Russian women have been hostage from their own Russian men, being brought from abroad, from the Russian mafia. I'm witness to have help some Russian women that were prostitutes, but I find it very difficult. They have a Russian male mafia who sells them for profit. So these are people that don't know of their rights, and they don't know anything that has to do with the freedom of expression and for their rights. And of course, taking heroin. There was another Russian woman who tried to hit me with her leg when I was pregnant. So she was another prostitute who started very young. She was still young. And I was just bringing food to the father of my children. So she was sleeping there in an abandoned house. And she threatened me that she's Russian. I said, I am Venezuelan from South America. Because she thought I was, just dressed in another way. And maybe I didn't have as much luck as she had or came. Who knows what she went through. Not just the sexual violence, but the lack of her rights. These people don't have their money. Social workers cannot help everyone as they wish as well. That's also... But if you take all the money that you give to social workers and see how many generations have learned to use the money of the government to get housings and pregnant young women. Even their mothers raise their sons to do that and make them alcoholic so they take their children. So there is so much sickness there that's being groomed from both sides. And when you have a system that can cooperate with an architecture where women can take care of themselves, because they are dark bones between men and women. When you have children, you really love your husband or the father of your children. You will always wish. We have this delusion to be married. We have this mental illness that is a belief that we have to do everything to keep our family together, no matter what the man has put us through, to always forgive him, because the dream of true love and your family is first. So this is from first person, totally delusional and dreamlike. And they keep that dream alive, of course. They keep that fantasy and call you my wife and compare you with other women, and you love to be the number one or the only one, no matter how far it goes, to never let them know, let it brush away, because you got to keep the dream alive. So whatever you're being married with, a holy marriage with a Catholic church or Anglican church or Orthodox church, there is a lot of underneath realities that have nothing to do with what one woman needs: to be loved, to love your children, to have your economics. And then you have third parties who already have plots from an early stage to manipulate these parties apart to take their children. They know very well how it's going to work, and they always hire young people. That's in Canada. British Columbia, because other states don't have. And other states in Canada are aware of how bad it is in British Columbia with the Ministry of Children. So it's how the government plays and hides their doings. They do believe, and it works. Until one day, it doesn't work anymore. One day it's no. So it is very hard to understand. Being inside the problem, it helps you to see how this cycle of darkness also creates secret agents who have come from high class families. They've been supported by governments to be part of governments, to be working and understanding the twisted side, to be protected, to be always immaculate and perfect, and know how to orchestrate others. So you direct them and redirecting them, because you don't want the truth to be found out. For example, in my case, giving my children, and look, I have mistaken myself. So others have the right to be mistaken as well, to not believe in me. How can you tell what is the truth? But still, you had all the evidence. They knew it would last short with him, but he had a car accident, so he's my family, the father of my children. My children have his blood. Half of their DNA comes from him and his ancestors. Why would I hate him? Why would they want me to hate my own family? They had succeeded by dividing all my family and putting my first daughter against me when I have put all my money and worked for my first daughter to mediate for me when I couldn't, because I was a threat. What they did to me was a threat. Yeah. It should never be found out. It doesn't matter how many boxes you have from the information. It's been recorded in every trial. I had no rights. And of course I was delusional that I could keep my children with me one day, or I could keep them with me. When I look at my baby son, saying, my son, look at me, he had 1 year and 4 months. I was breastfeeding him and I called for help to the ministry, but a few days passed and I knew that they were coming for me. And I just knew this is the last time I'm breastfeeding you. There was a moment of eternity where our eyes crossed over. It was his eyes and my eyes in one. I'm gonna be fine. I will learn from you later. But I love you. I don't want to lose you. I love you. I do love you. There is true love. I will work hard. So no, you can't. I won't learn from you. What is for children to learn can be learned later. I will be on my own. You have things to do. I was, yes, but I want to have you. You cannot be with me. I cannot be with you. I was role playing before. Things to do. But I love you. And your sister Alice. Why can a mother be with their children? I will do everything to have you and care for you. Universal love can be found on strangers as well. And different frequencies and ways and transgressions as well. As you become more and more yourself with more boundaries to protect yourself, knowing well what is what. That is better than gaslighting from one's family. Remember always that, because it becomes part of the self. The self is gaslighting itself to do twisted things, hurting one's love, hurting oneself. So being aware of the self, not as yourself, but what goes through you, for your family, for the people you work with, and for the values you carry. You always wish them to find true love and know they were born from that. Whether it was a delusion or a fantasy, it was there for a vibration in nature. So yeah, He's still my husband, the father of my children. It's been very painful to share this story. I promised to take care of him where no one would. Unconditionally. Not to put our children at risk. Need time to have on his own to recover and integrate himself again with his own. So he taught me a lot. David taught me a lot. He said, well, maybe it's not me, maybe it is you. I did it for you. But he also had betrayals to me. He also lied. There's no need to have these behaviors. So there's a long lineage of stories of trauma, and very hard to grow as a man with the stories that I will reserve with respect, because I have mine as well. But we're not here to listen about traumas and neglect called freedom. No matter how many professors you have and disciplinary methods to be perfect, just to channel, to be believed. We all need this true love in our formation, wherever it is, in the gestation of ourselves, in our system, in our childhood, in our adulthood, if possible, all the way through until our elder years and last breath. So, well, I'm here to help social workers to work, and volunteers and all these people that work for the most vulnerable. I am one of them who is weak and alone and helpless to recover my children until there is an outer form that interferes to bring light to this relation I have with government, men, social workers, and a system where this money is redirected for a better architecture and understanding, because men also have their traumas and they don't have to be placed in the streets, and they don't have to play games to get welfare, and many lovers in welfare projects like in New York, because that's another form of business. I learned from a neighbor in Manhattan on the Upper East Side. She worked on these issues, and she said to me, I mean, she was the only one who came closer to me because I was the only Hispanic, and they will all look at me down, but doesn't mean all of them are the same. So yeah, I work on this, and my parents came here to work. They were not colonists, they didn't enslave anyone, and they think to deserve the welfare, they don't want to work because their ancestors were slaves. But my parents also worked very hard just for food and shelter. So where is the split between the poor and the rich, and those who can deliver, and how can we become more responsible without having to hurt others in between? we can be more constructive simultaneously. So, well, this is a broader introduction to this season for Tech the Self on a more jovial and normal sense. There's not going to be any theatrics or. I really love the theatrics. I could just be role playing in fantasy realms and take care of my kids. Thank you very much. You do your jobs. Hopefully, the system can work by itself, right? And better when we trust in each other. So no one is coming here to bring a voice against you. Of course, you've been mistaken, but as a beacon of light, this is why I painted the walls yellow, to remember to be grateful for those who helped me and honor them back. So I'm gonna create a link so it goes to, I don't know if their account, because they might not want me to be related, because of course we are people that comes from heavy baggage, right? So they don't have to trust in us, you know. What do you know if you know that you don't know? They have a microphone and it's threatening me because so no. It looks like I talk a lot, but I don't say really everything. So if they talk to me, I can give in the private the phone so I can talk to the person to donate there. Meanwhile, how I'm going to maintain myself to bring my daughter and son and mother. My sister is a working person. I love her and respect her. I have tried many times to be with her and it didn't work. So many times I lost a lot of money, and so it didn't work. I cannot do that. It's just never worked. So it cannot work. So I love her very much, but it's good enough for me to just continue with my delusion or vibration or fantasy that it's gonna be okay. It's taken too many years, ups and downs. I wish to work better every day. I wish to break the spell of people bringing suspicions on others to make their way, because governments handle a lot of money, so they are very good positions of power, and people have to take care of that as well. So one has to be very cautious to not allow the work be misled, to take care of more and prevent is the priority. So we will see how we do this to eradicate homelessness. I'm here to open this main theme in this season with others in first person, as someone that is regenerating with others. So that's all. Thank you for being in here, and I hope to meet you soon for the betterment of the next time, as we are creative. For those who have people working for them, it's good for you.